there is no team hotter in Major League Baseball than the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, if you look at run differential, you look at all of the metrics and just, wins and losses. Let me check on what the Phillies record is. So I was surprised that, yes, they're the second shortest odds. They're 43-19, but still plus 275 for a team who has played in the postseason. Because here's something that I want to bring up. It's not regular season success that always translates to a World Series win. Look at the Dodgers. How many years have they had 100 win seasons and it hasn't translated into a World Series ring? Several. Like, how many championships have they had over the last 20 years? Like one since 1980 yep. or something? Yeah. So it feels like something where, yes, we're giving the Dodgers credit. Yes, they are very good. But if you look at starting rotation, I think the Phillies actually have a better starting rotation. So I'll go with them. The team that has, I think, 3 starters with ERAs under 3. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez has been really good. And Ranger Suarez, I think, has an ERA under 2. So those 4 guys, fantastic work so far this season. So let's switch gears to the American League. Right now, the Yankees are your favorite at plus 250. The Orioles 4-1, Mariners 7-1, Astros plus 750, Guardians 10-1, and the Twins 11-1. So, Bill, this one I feel like has a little bit more wiggle room. I feel like the National League is very top heavy, whereas in the American League, I feel like there are several teams that maybe could make a postseason push. I think you said it about James Paxton. The Dodgers have been fantastic behind him. And run support matters here because we're talking about a first 5 money line bet. James Paxton is 5-0 this year. He has a 3.29, which is pretty good. But still, he's always getting the run support. Even in the full game, the Dodgers have won 8 of his 10 starts this year. You look at Paul Skeens, he's 2-0, so you can't go against him. But still, you only play the first 5. I do think that's the way to go. Paul Skeens has just been nasty in some of these starts, even against some pretty solid lineups. And the strikeouts are always there because that's the thing. When you have a strikeout pitcher, it means that he can strand some runners. So even if the Dodgers have some guys on base, maybe Paul Skeens can get those big outs to end the innings, and he'll get out of trouble that way. I think at some point I will be off Paul Skeens because the number is approaching unbettable at, if it gets to minus 150, like we're still talking about the Pirates here. They have to score runs in this one as well. But today I would talk into looking at Paul Skeens and the Pirates only in the first 5. All right, for me, I'm going to go with something that feels like an auto bet these days. Maybe I just jinx it, but hopefully not. We're going to go with the Phillies on the first 5 run line, -0.5, against the Milwaukee Brewers today, especially with the starting pitcher matchup that we have today. It's Aaron Ashby of the Brewers going against Aaron Nola of the Phillies. I'm going to take the better Aaron in this scenario, and that's going to be Mr. Nola, who has been fantastic this season. 7-2 with a 3.03 ERA. He has allowed 2 runs or fewer in every single start this season. Incredibly consistent. And you look at Aaron Ashby, only 1 start on the year. It was not a good one. Gave up 4 earned runs in just 3 2/3 against the Cincinnati Reds. And if you look at offenses as a whole, the Phillies are the #1 run scoring offense in the first 5 innings of baseball. So give me the Phillies in the first 5 on the run line.
Looking at the Mavs here, I think 6.5 is a little too many points to be laying against this Mavs team that has good rim protection with their bigs and Gafford and Lively. Their defense has improved throughout the entire postseason. And then you have Kyrie and Luka who can outscore Tatum and Brown, really, and are better closers. So if this game's close at all or within a couple possessions, Kyrie and Luka are going to be able to perform down the stretch in those final possessions, and that's going to be enough to keep this game close. I wouldn't be shocked also if the Mavs just won game 1 outright. With Porzingis coming back, what is he going to look like? I would imagine Dallas's goal is to try and steal at least one of these first 2 games in Boston. Game 1, where a player's been off for an entire month and is reincorporating himself back in, I think that's the game that the Mavs have their best chance at winning. So game 1, I'm on Dallas, plus the points. I would sprinkle the money line as well tomorrow night.
Like, how many what's the percentage of snaps that Christian McCaffrey is involved in? It feels like a very high percentage. He's constantly on the field. He is constantly a part of the offense. And even when he's not, even when he doesn't have his hands on the ball, he's a decoy. He is such a threat that you have to respect him whenever he's on the field. And I think, remember those conversations we had about, is Brock Purdy the MVP or is Christian McCaffrey the more deserving candidate on his own team? So again, like, I know this is resetting the running back market, but I don't know, maybe I'm used to like baseball money where I look at some of these contracts and I'm like this is what a reliever makes. Like, yeah. I'm looking at some of these contracts. Like, if you look, I'm just looking at the Phillies for now. Nick Castellanos is making $20 million a year. $20 million a year. That's more than Christian McCaffrey. And Nick Castellanos isn't even the best player on the team. So let's bring in Chris Mack from BetQL Daily to react to this news. And also, Chris, we have a little treat for you.
Oh, what do you have?
I want you to be on the screen for this because we have made your dream
That is the most disturbing.
We have arranged a meeting
that is,
with you and Paul Scanes.
That is one of the most disturbing visuals I've ever seen cooked up by our team. That is frightening on so many levels. Look, just because a guy celebrates Skeens Day every 5 days doesn't mean he deserves to be photoshopped into the warm and loving embrace of Paul Skeens.
You look tan there in that picture, Chris. You got a little sun.
Well, I've put on a little weight since then, Chelsea. I don't quite have that size 0 figure anymore. So, seriously, disturbing. Just disturbing, that visual.
I think the best is the look that you have there. Like, your eyes are, I don't want to call them scary, but you look very serious in that picture.
I mean, I don't know what the directive was for that photo shoot, but it was probably like, hey, don't look as creepy as you normally look. Try to soften it a little bit. And I was like, okay. And so I just sat there and ended up looking worse somehow. And now it's been photoshopped onto Livy Dunn's body, and no one can ever unsee this who's seen it. Yikes.
Chris, obviously, Skeens is going today. Has it become kind of a big deal when Skeens takes the hill? Can you feel that in the city?
Yeah. People want to be there tonight, especially with the Dodgers in town.
Right.
So this series on the whole, it's the first time Ohtani's ever been to PNC Park. Then you double down with Glasnow's first start back in Pittsburgh since leaving the Pirates several years ago. And then you bring in Skeens Day today. Actually, a pretty decent matchup tomorrow, too. Walker Buehler against Bailey Falter, who's actually been pretty good this year. So, yeah, it's a big-time series, and it's just at about the time where everybody starts to turn their attention full-time to baseball. So, yeah, everybody's looking forward to Skeens Day, except those that hope they never see that again. Dear God.
Oh, my goodness. Well, if you were wondering, we're definitely probably going to post this to social media. So for those of you listening on the radio, just check out the socials. It will live in infamy forever. Sorry, Chris Mack.